Alright guys, Wuthering Waves is only a couple days away now, so I just want to go through a few tips you guys should consider on day 1 of the game to help you have more of an efficient start. The biggest tip I can provide before getting into the rest will be have fun. It's a fresh new game for everyone, so if you want to enjoy the game your way, be my guest. Just before we get into it, would really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to the channel for more Wuthering Waves content. Should be dropping quite a few videos to help you guys out along with showcases and other stuff too with the game's release. Also, don't forget to drop a like and comment if you enjoyed the video. Do it! Okay, for some of you, these tips may be fairly obvious, but for some players that will be playing their first open world gacha game like Genshin, I'm sure these will help a ton. I want to start with map exploration. Wuthering Waves is an open world exploration game where you traverse across a huge map, finding chests, puzzles, collecting materials, pick mint, and defeating a lot of different enemies. Now there's going to be 2 ways to explore, either exploring alongside the story or you ditch the story and explore yourself. Both options are perfectly fine as it's just down to preference. Exploring yourself would allow you to unlock as much of the map a lot earlier than sticking to the story. I personally will stick to the story and explore the map alongside it just to have some context and more info of the areas I go through. Regardless of which option you pick, there would be a few things to keep in mind. One major one would be echoes and your data bank. Echoes are essentially equipment for your characters, and your data bank is something that you would level up through collecting echoes. And how you would be picking up echoes is through defeating normal enemies roaming the world and bosses. As much as you shouldn't worry about echo farming at the beginning of the game, it would be important to level up your data bank as soon as possible, as you will need to reach a certain level before being able to acquire gold rarity echoes, and that level in the data bank would be level 15. So alongside exploring through the map, I would suggest to defeat any enemies along the way to your destination in order to level up your data bank as much as you can. So when it is time to start farming for echoes, you will be able to pick up gold rarity echoes, which are the best ones to invest in. Entwined with defeating any enemies along your path, let's not forget the actual core of Wuthering Waves, the combat. The best possible way to learn the combat mechanics and to perfect them, such as dodging and parrying, would be to engage in as much combat as you can. So defeating any enemies, even weaker ones, will ultimately help you feel more comfortable and pick up the combat mechanics even quicker. Dodging and parrying is all about timing, so if you can't perfectly time them when you're fighting against weak enemies, you will find it tough going up against more difficult ones that can one-shot you. This would also help you be more fluid with switching your characters, learning some combos, and just overall adapting to the combat system of Wuthering Waves. Another tip would be pick up as many materials as you can whenever you are traversing. It may seem tedious to do, but I assure you, when you are at the stage where you are upgrading characters or weapons that will require specific materials in the open world, and you already have a bunch because you have picked them up along the way, it will definitely lessen the burden. Every single material in the world you are able to pick up isn't there just for display, they all have a use. You may not see the value in them at first, but when a character or weapon comes out and you pick them up, then you see that they require certain materials to level up which you could have picked up on the way. It's gonna suck. So just pick up whatever you can along the way. The last map exploration related tip would be side quests. Now through exploration, you will come across a bunch of NPCs and indicators on the map showing an available side quest. Of course, you may want to prioritize the main story and deal with the side quests after. However, don't just ignore those map indicators. You should go to them and have the side quest added to your list of quests for later on. So when you have eventually completed the main story, you can see all of the side quests you have collected up to complete. It's completely your preference whether you do them before or after, but I believe it would just be better to have all of the side quests you come across at least added to your quest list, as you would easily lose track of locations. Also, given it will be at the start of the game, I do expect there will be a ton of side quests available, so it will be really difficult to remember all of the locations. So just spend the extra minute or 2 to have the quest added to your quest list for sure. Now somewhat related to side quests would be your union level. Your union level is your account level, and the way you level up is through completing main story quests and side quests. And when you level up, you can obtain some nice rewards. You are able to obtain 40 standard banner pulls when you reach union level 35, which will help massively with the beginner banner, which I will get to in a second. At level 45, you will be able to choose a free 5-star weapon from a selector, which will be huge for your characters. It's gonna take weeks to maybe a month to reach account level 45, so by then you should have an idea on which weapon you will be choosing based on the characters you have built. Additionally, there will be content locked from you due to your union level being too low, such as leveling up characters and main story quests. So saving those side quests, as I mentioned earlier, will be very important, as the only way to level up would be by completing them, so you will know exactly where to head to as soon as you hit that wall. Lastly, quality of rewards in general will be based on your union level. So very similar to Genshin and artifact farming, you had to hit a specific level before you could attain gold artifacts. In Wuthering Waves, along with farming echoes by just defeating enemies, there will be domains just like Genshin and StarRail where you use stamina to farm echoes. And if you are a Genshin or StarRail player, you would know that they aren't worth farming for until you have unlocked gold rarity equipment. So there's quite a few benefits from just leveling up your union level, as quick as possible, but just remember to go at your own pace. The game ultimately is a marathon, not a sprint, so no pressure. Now moving on to peak content from Wuthering Waves, Gacha. Firstly, with the beginner banner. It has been confirmed that there is going to be 2 beginner banners technically. On launch, you will be greeted with the first beginner banner that will provide a guaranteed random 5-star at 50 pulls. Once you have completed the first banner, the beginner selector banner will then be available for you to select which standard 5-star you want. Then you will need to spend an additional 80 pulls in order to pull the selected 5-star. The first beginner banner will be discounted, so it's going to be 40 pulls to complete it, and the total for both banners is 120. At the start of Gacha games, the standard banner currency, which is Lustrous Tides in Wuthering Waves, is quite easy to acquire. So as much as 120 pulls does look daunting, I wouldn't worry too much as it shouldn't take too long to complete both banners. I do want to remind you, Astrites can be exchanged for both Lustrous and Radiant Tides, and I would not recommend exchanging for Lustrous Tides. The beginner banners have no time limit opposed to exclusive banners that last for 3 weeks, so you should only exchange Astrites for Radiant Tides, as they are just a lot more valuable. Regarding exclusive banners now, and the first one to drop will be Xiao's dad. Now there's 2 options with the banner, you're either pulling for him or skipping him for characters such as Yinlin, Jinzi or Changli. And I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to save for Changli since she does have the Makima eyes. If you are pulling for Xiao's dad though, best of luck. However, if you are skipping him, I heavily advise you to pop a multi or 2 just for the 4 stars. Jixia is free already, but Dungeon and Mortifi are amongst the best characters in the game, including 5 stars. With exclusive banners, if you are unaware, any summons you do, the pity will carry on to future banners. So that basically means if you drop 20 pulls on Jiyan's banner and you don't pull him, and then Yinlin's banner arrives, those 20 pulls will carry over to Yinlin's banner. So you need to spend 60 more to go all the way to pity rather than the full 80. So the pity doesn't refresh from banner to banner. The usual term for this is called building pity. So you can pick up more desirable 4 stars or test your luck to see if you can pull the 5-star early. The 4 stars on Jiyan's banner in comparison to Yinlin's banner are much better. So again, I do advise doing some summons to see if you can pull Dungeon or Mortifi if you are skipping Jiyan. The exclusive weapon banner is something even free to play can consider pulling on in Wuthering Waves. So if you have enough premium currency and you want the weapon, I would advise to go for it since the weapon will be guaranteed. However, just bear in mind it may be wise to not heavily invest in characters at the start of the game due to power creep. But if you really like the character, then to hell with meta. Finally would be handling your resources, and that would apply to your characters and echoes. Regarding characters, it would be best to have a team in mind that you will want to invest your resources into, so you can avoid spreading your resources across too many characters. At the start of the game, resources such as leveling up mats are going to be extremely valuable, so you do want to avoid wasting them if possible. So you should maybe check some videos regarding characters you would like to play with, such as on my channel, and see what other characters have good synergy with them. Progressing through the game only requires 3 characters to be built up, so to be really efficient, you just want to focus on those 3 characters for the beginning of the game. Later on, when it comes to endgame that requires 3 teams to be built, you can invest in other characters then. Or when you reach a point where you have a ton of XP mats, then you can invest in different characters. But for now, you will want to focus on 3 characters only. With echoes, you are able to feed echoes you have leveled up into higher rarity echoes. So that means you don't have to wait to acquire gold rarity echoes before leveling them up. That also means you shouldn't really level up every echo since you do still lose some echo XP materials. I would suggest if you have a 4-star echo with good stats perhaps, then level it up as your characters will surely reach a quest that they will need the extra stats to clear it. And that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. As I mentioned at the start of the video, the most vital thing is to take it easy and have fun. Play to your preference. If you want to casually go through the game or sweat your entire being off, it's completely your choice. I hope these tips do help you guys out, and if you have enjoyed the video, would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel for more Wuthering Waves content and drop a like. Also, if I have missed out any important tips you guys think are worth mentioning, comment them down below so others can see and benefit from them. And yeah, hope to catch you guys later.